we don't even half the time know what's moving through us. Sometimes tears just start coming, or joy just emerges out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And we're moving memories, we're moving blockages, and it's coming just through the body. You don't have to go through everything, every single thought and story to get there.
Jacia, forgiveness. Why is that important? Why is that the focus of this day's work?
So I decided to call it the forgiveness dance, although must admit we almost did freedom, focus, feet, and forgiveness, because really it's about all of that.
Yeah. That's just too much.
Too much for a flyer.
Yeah.
But ultimately the goal is to start to recognize that we hold in our bodies feelings and emotions and beliefs and trauma, and they're stored in our tissues. They are living there.
The body keeps the score.
The body keeps the score. And in order to get to forgiveness, we need to dig into the body. And movement, as far as I'm concerned, is, and as far as many people, Bessel van der Kolk included, is concerned, is one of the highest, most effective ways to move through trauma, pain, emotional stuckness, and release. And forgiveness is probably the hardest layer to get, because we can walk around saying, oh yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But you can look at the person who's saying that and you can see that they don't look fine. They don't look free. They don't look happy. They don't look connected. But they're like, I'm fine. I'm over it. I've forgiven. But they're not living life as someone who's forgiven.
Yeah, so it seems like with forgiveness, dancing is such a wonderful ideal as far as something to strive for. Like, forgiveness is this way of, or I suppose it's kind of a process, and it's a way of getting meeting life on its own terms, and it's a way of seeing the reality of things honestly, seeing your life, including the joys, the beauties, all parts of it, seeing it, and then deciding to, well, then there's a decision to make. How are you going to work with that? And
That's right.
one answer is, well, you should dance with it.
That's right. That's what I believe. Yes.
and because we're here, and so forgiveness is this kind of, it seems like this stepping forward to meet life and say, yes, I accept that these are the cards that have been dealt, and I do want to play
That's right.
this game, and doing so is a wonderfully freeing thing.
Yeah, hard times require furious dancing, right? Alice Walker's famous quote, and it's so true. I mean, when you look throughout time, every culture has danced, whether it was for grief, for joy, for victory, and ultimately with each other to find a way to harmonize. And if that isn't forgiveness, if that isn't a way of starting to cultivate it, forgiveness seems to me to be an ongoing life process, and it requires movement, right? If we stay stuck, if we don't do anything, and we don't move it out, we can't even get close. So, it's a spiral of forgiveness, and we're starting that.
It makes me think that, one doesn't forgive to then be done and enter some finished state where nothing else is needed. One forgives to live more completely.
That's right.
And live more fully and be able to move more fully, and that forgiveness isn't, like you said, it's not just an intellectual reality. It's in our body.
Right.
The brain is innervated throughout the nervous system is innervated throughout our whole body, so that it shows up, and we're basically gonna, by moving within this space, by moving within this focus, it seems like we'll be working at lots of levels at the same time.
Yeah, I love what you just said there. I keep thinking about the word forgiveness, right? And forgiving. Like, we stop wanting to give to life, give to ourselves, give to the world when we haven't forgiven, right? And the other aspect to giving is receiving. So, right? So if we aren't able to give, we are also not able to receive. It's a dance that goes together with the heart, with the heartbeat, that in and out movement that happens when we move. We activate the oxygenation. We activate the actual rhythm of life through our breath, right? Breath is that source that keeps us moving. When we're angry, when we're clutching, when we haven't forgiven, we hold our breath. Nothing comes good from that. Yeah, so we're going to breathe.
Yeah,
we're going to dance.
And there is something really beautiful about when some situation, when society, whatever it is, hasn't been forgiven, when you're not in some relationship of forgiving the world for being as it is, yourself as you are, something is stuck, something isn't moving.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've found something in terms of the power of choosing to move.
You know, sometimes when you said forgiving ourselves, it really brought up another half of this for me, which is part of why I decided I wanted to do this workshop. You know, I've certainly been a victim at certain points in my life, and I didn't want to be a victim. I wanted to be a survivor, a thriver. And so my orientation towards life was to seek the light, to be my highest. And, you know, and then the victimhood, those pieces get further and further within. And so sometimes forgiveness means forgiving that we are a victim. Forgiving and giving to that part of ourselves that is injured enough so that it can heal or be acknowledged enough to suddenly come out fully into the light, you know, into the joy that it was posing as, right? So it's an integration, inside and out.
Yeah, forgiving yourself for even feeling hurt.
Exactly.
Is a powerful thing. Yeah, truly, because then those processes get to work. The body heals itself, the mind heals itself.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna basically guide us through moving these things and putting these into action, putting these things into motion. Can you say a little bit about the
Absolutely.
kind of work?
Yeah, I wanted to say two things. So the workshop's going to be a really great combination of freedom, meaning there's going to be unguided spaces where you or me or whoever's doing the dance mix, the music is the guide, right? The music itself is going to be the guide. And there are going to be times where I'm gently assisting or opening processes. So we'll be working as a whole group, sometimes in smaller groups, maybe with some visualizations, meditations as well. So it'll be a nice 4.5 hour chunk of a combo of those two things. You are going to have, don't worry if you're like 4.5 hours, I can't dance for 4.5 hours. You won't be. We're going to have nice ups and downs of movement and then slower, more still stocks and sharing and then more movement. But you will feel fully worked and joyous, hopefully, or at least cleansed by the end.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and I was...
And it's for anyone. You don't have to be a dancer.
Right.
At all. You just have to be able to, you have to have the capacity to be able to be in your body for that amount of time. That, be physically comfortable enough to be in this space.
There's just a willingness.
Really,
an openness that's required. This isn't a performance. This is really, it seems like recognizing and working with your ability to process the world, process your life, and your body's body's ability to make freedom.
That's right. Freedom and forgiveness. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, you don't have to even care about the topic forgiveness to enjoy this workshop. Trust me. You don't even have to think about it. It just naturally is part of what called me to want to do this. I feel like our world could use a lot more of forging into the understanding of freedom and forgiveness.
Maybe we could talk a little bit about what about for someone who doesn't have a relationship to some really traumatic event? What is forgiveness?
Yeah, in a way, that's the one I think we've talked less about so far. So maybe we should fly with that one. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah. So can you
absolutely. So I'm willing to bet.
For someone who's got a pretty decent life.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that there isn't anyone out there who doesn't have some judgment about themselves. or they're someone in their family, or
the
some
world.
feeling, or the world, right? And it might be as little as like, gosh, I keep saying that I'm going to stop eating sugar and I don't. Or I keep saying I'm going to quit smoking or quit drinking and I don't. Or, gosh, I keep saying I'm not going to yell at my kid when he raises his voice at me and I react, right? It could be anything simple.
I can't be painting because of my job. And I can't have a real beautiful, ecstatic day because this person and all these...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
whatever
a million
excuse,
reasons
whatever
why
thing.
life isn't amazing.
Exactly.
Basically.
Exactly. So we're going to forgive those. We're going to work at understanding those.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like,
for
anyone whose life isn't completely amazing, there's
reason to come.
There's a reason to come. Yeah. And
have an amazing time with us, right? Why wouldn't they come?
Yeah, that's part of what I've loved so much about the dance you and I have had, and getting to dance with you and the work of Five Rhythms is like, it's this just profound combination of just kind of an innate joy in the fact of dancing, innate playfulness that makes the room for what can be deep, deep work and deep revelation, transformation, release, or just a great time. It's amazing.
I love that you said that. I think that is so true. And, often I've been misunderstood when people see my joy on the dance floor or my freedom. They don't have any idea that I've worked for that, and I've worked through it on the dance floor. Mm-hmm. I didn't start off like this, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. No way. Mm-hmm. It's all come from finding it within. And it's amazing, too, what we can find within. We can find dances from every culture or country or movements that we didn't even know without ever taking a dance class, just by digging in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's powerful. We don't even half the time know what's moving through us. Mm-hmm. Sometimes tears just start coming, or joy just emerges out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And we're moving memories, we're moving blockages, and it's coming just through the body. You don't have to go through every single thought and story to get there.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a great point. You don't have to, in terms of the work of dancing, like, so much is happening. You don't have to go through and undo every little bit. It turns out actually just dancing your way through, whole mountains can get moved. Yeah, and that's something that I've experienced a lot with you, and I feel like I'm just beginning to see more and more of in a way. And I love that you said that you don't have to know even what's exactly coming up. You'll find out. and
all you have to do is be willing to not know. That's pretty much the only thing you need to be willing, is to have no idea what's going to happen, and to surrender.
And move with it.
Move with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Move with discomfort. Move with anxiety. Mm-hmm. Move with joy. Move with curiosity, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Move with, nervousness. One of the things I love the most on this floor, I love to facilitate connection on the dance floor. And we're going to be playing with what that means in ways that are safe, and just learning, how do I connect? What's authentic to me? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we learn to forgive as we see. So many different ways of people working through things in order to find their way to connection. Because when we have not found forgiveness for ourselves or others, we've also become disconnected. Mm-hmm. And so I see often on dance floors tons of people looking so lonely and isolated and disconnected. It breaks my heart, and I've been there. I've been there, entering a room and thinking, I don't know anyone. Too. And now I enter a room and I feel like I know everyone and I love them. Mm-hmm. And that's a profound experience to have shifted. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Kind of going back to you talking about expressing different specific emotions, different experiences, and how those things need they need to be embodied. They need to be, for them to really, be metabolized and to move. And suddenly when you discover a way of expressing, complete confusion or something, and with your body, you suddenly are free to do so. And now you know what confusion feels like and looks like, and then you can move into new territory.
Yeah. And once you recognize what something looks like and feels like, you can see it in another and not be frightened by it, not be judging it. You suddenly are like, oh, I know the terrain there and I can feel that. I can join them there. I can meet them where they are.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You just immediately have way more understanding.
It's a compassion developer.
Yeah, because it seems like, in my experience, like with myself and other people, so much of when it comes to a lack of understanding or compassion, and bitterness about something, it's often because I don't really know what's going on, and as soon as I move it, I have a way better sense of what's going on. And you have to be able to. You can't even see it clearly in some sense.
Yeah, when you don't know what's going on, guess what humans do? They project what they think is going on, and that creates boundary after boundary after judgment. Right? And then when you're like, oh, I'm just going to meet them there, and I'm not going to assume anything. I'm going to ask. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to dance with it with them, and welcome it rather than push it. Invite it in.
Yeah, and that just immediately makes me think that, like, somewhat you could say a lot of this work in this way of practicing dance, it's kind of a constant act of forgiveness from a certain angle, like forgiving yourself, giving the space to yourself to have this emotion, have this experience, have this complete allowance.
Yeah, for me, like when you speak of that, I came into the, wanting to share that, like, dance is the universal language. Everyone speaks it, and no one needs to understand each other's words. We just need to listen and move with it and feel into it. And there's a language being spoken, and we can all start to relate from that place, There's no boundaries in music and dance. It's free.
Yeah, and being physical creatures, we gotta physically work our way through in this life.
Yeah, isn't that great that we can actually have fun doing it, that it's actually an effective practice for, like, deep work, and yet you feel good after.
I think that's a wonderful point to emphasize. It's like, how it's kind of the ideal, like it's fun and deep. And playful, I thought, all at the same time. And
whoever you are listening, you are welcome to this medicine. You are just welcome. We hope you show up, huh?
Yeah, we hope to have you.